Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I always say hi guys. I always feel like one day I must change the way I greet you guys. But anyway, hi guys. Thank you for joining me. You guys are always absolutely amazing. I appreciate you all. My name is Mwaka Mugala. If you are new here, and I talk about all things beauty, health, and lifestyle. And if you are new as well, please turn on the notification bell as you subscribe so that every time I get new videos out like this, you will be the first to know. And for those who have been subscribing, who have watched, who have shared, who have commented, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I always enjoy the feedback you guys give and the interactions. It's just, they make my days. Yes.
This is me, whether you like it or not. Quick to talk, but you do not do a lot. If I change, then it will be for the better. No apology, so don't expect.
Okay, so today I decided to do something a little bit different. I have done a movie review before, and yeah, that was rather something. So today I decided to do a book review, and I'm hoping that out of this, by the end of the video, you will be able to learn one or two things that will help you in your day-to-day life. So this book is none other than one of my favorite motivational books actually. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. Like I said, I've read a lot of motivational books, but this one is one of the few that actually changed my life and my perception and the way that I see things, the way that I go about my day-to-day activities. Robin Sharma is a Canadian writer, and he's known worldwide for his humanitarian works, and basically he's one of the best authors when it comes to personal optimization. And so that's one thing I love about this book. So basically, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari tells a story from a perspective of someone telling a story to another person, another character in this book, and it's based on this man called Julian Mantle. Yes. So Julian Mantle was a lawyer, very successful. He was very rich. He had so many properties, and he had a Ferrari, which he loved very, very much. Now, despite all of this success, despite all of the cases that he used to win for high-profile clients, he always wanted more. He's like, I want more money. I want more this, more that, more that. And because of that, he started overexerting himself. Kind of like I do. Like he started working too hard to the point that he didn't have time for his family. He didn't have time for anything else. He was always in the office. As a result, he got divorced because his wife was like, you know what, you don't give time to me and the children, we're leaving you. So he lost his wife, but that didn't faze him. He actually ended up even spending more time in the office. So one time he is in court, and he is, as usual, doing his thing, representing a client on a big, big case. And in the middle of that, he has a heart attack. He just has a sharp pain in his chest, and then he falls to the ground and collapses. They rush into the emergency room, and he's told, oh, you had a heart attack. And the doctor says, look, you've been pushing yourself a bit too hard. You need to take a break. Yes, it's important to work hard. Yes, it's important to make money. But if you're not resting, this is the result. So I advise you to take a break. And so Julian sat down and he's like, you know what? I need to rethink my life, reevaluate. So what does he do? He starts selling off his properties one by one, sells off, a lot of the things that he had, his clothes, even his beloved Ferrari, hence the title, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And then he decides to take a trip to the Himalayan mountains, to the Himalayas, where he sort of wanted to, I guess, get some knowledge on how he can improve the quality of his life. So he gets there and he meets this group of monks, and they tell him about one particular monk who had like so much knowledge to impart on him, and he was going to change his life. And he said, look, I need to find this monk, I need to learn from him. And so they introduce him to this monk, and after hearing Julian's story, he says, look, I'll tell you all you need to know, but I'll give you one condition. You have to share this knowledge with other people. Yeah. So he said, cool, I'll share this knowledge. And so he spent months learning and learning and learning. And then he came back and decided the first person he was going to share this knowledge with, this other lawyer named John, who was just like him. And of course, he was going to share it with many other people, but he decided John would be best because he used to mentor him. And John looked up to Julian because he was this big time lawyer. John basically wanted to be Julian. So Julian was like, look, I'm going to tell this story to you to help improve the quality of your life because I've learned so much and I'd like to share it with you. And hopefully you can learn something and then share it with other people and so on and so forth. And so Julian told John about these 7 virtues of enlightened learning. And he started with this scenario, okay? So I'll give you the scenario as well. I want you to go with me as I explain, right? Picture yourself in this garden. You walk into this garden and there's a lot of like beautiful flowers. It's very green and it's just beautiful. And further up in the distance, you see a lighthouse, okay? Now, in this lighthouse, after a while, you're looking at this lighthouse and then you see a sumo wrestler walk out of the lighthouse. This sumo wrestler is wearing nothing but like a cord of cables, obviously, to cover his sensitive areas because you don't want to see too much. This sumo wrestler walks out and on the floor he sees a stopwatch. So he's trying to pick up this stopwatch, but then he misses a step and then he falls, hits his head and he, loses consciousness. He wakes up after a few seconds and he's looking onto his left side, and on his left side he sees a path of diamonds out of the garden. So it's leading to another way out of the garden, and this is a path of diamonds. Does this story make sense? No, it doesn't. And even I was just like, when I was reading, I was like, what is going on? Okay. However, all of these are just symbolic of what he wanted to tell in the story. Okay? So let's start with the garden. This is the first virtue that he spoke about, and it's about mastering your mind. So a garden is essentially something that you take care of, right? So you could have flowers in it, you could have your crops, whatever it is you grow in your garden. And when you plant a seed in that garden, you water that seed, make sure it has enough sunlight, make sure it has the right nutrients, whether it's through manure and whatnot. And then the flower plant, whatever it is, starts to grow. And as it grows, obviously you still have to take care of it, prune out the dead ends, make sure that it grows nicely. So this garden is representative of your mind. And basically the same way you take care of a garden is the same way you should take care of your mind. Your mind is something that you are highly responsible for. What are you feeding your mind? Just like the garden, are you feeding it with the right things? Are you watching the right things? Are you listening to the right things? Whether it's music, whether it's people, and so on and so forth. So you really have to make a deliberate effort to master your mind, what you think about and what you put in. And this is what is going to help you sort of live your life, I guess. And it does have a few things that you may know about, a few quote-unquote cliches, but I also like to emphasize the power of positive thinking, and that's one of the things that it emphasizes, is the power of positive thinking, hence mastering your mind. And once you master your mind, once you make deliberate effort to grow your mind, to stop the negative thoughts, that is one way in which you can improve your life. And that's basically what this book is about, is helping improve your life. The second virtual, which is represented by the lighthouse, is to follow your purpose. So mostly a lighthouse is put in places like maybe you find it in an ocean and there's nothing else, but there's a lighthouse in the distance. And that light is what will guide you to sort of follow a place you can go to for direction if you're lost, for example. So this is something that will help you follow your purpose. And in order to do that, you have to sort of write down your goals, your plans, and this is what will help you get to where you want to be. So if you write down your plans, short term, long term, your goals, say for example, if you have career goals, say, okay, by the end of this year, I want a promotion in my job. Or if it's health goals, by the end of this year, I want to lose 5 kgs. Or in 6 months, financial goals, I want to save 800,000 kwacha, or 200,000 kwacha, or 5,000 kwacha, or even 100 kwacha. Depends on what your goals are. But once you write down these goals, you define them. That is sort of a lighthouse for you, and it's going to help you with your actions. So when you know your goals, it'll help you sort of know what you need to avoid in life in order to achieve your goals, what you need to encourage to achieve your goals. So if, say for example, your health goals, you want better skin, okay, I will avoid eating junk food, I will avoid too many processed foods, I'll focus on eating more healthy food, drinking a lot of water, I will wash my face every day, things like that. So once you have your goals, it helps sort of define what actions you go through every day. The third virtue that's mentioned in this book is practice KAIZEN, which is represented by the sumo wrestler. Basically, Kaizen is a Japanese word which means continuous improvement. Kai means continuous and Zen means improvement. Sumo wrestlers have to go through a lot of discipline in order to get to where they are. So this involves their diet, the training, and so on and so forth. It's very strict. So, a lot of us look at sumo wrestlers and think, oh, it's just these big guys just doing whatever it is they do. I don't even understand the art of sumo wrestling, to be honest. But after reading this, I did understand that there's a lot more work that goes in than we see. So because of that, they're constantly working to improve their craft as sumo wrestlers. So if you bring it back to your life, it just means constant improvement. Whatever it is you do, whatever industry you're in, if you're a musician, if you're an editor, a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, you have to make a deliberate effort to continue improving yourself. So read a lot of books. For example, I like to read a lot, even though I don't really have as much time, and sometimes I feel lazy because I'm so tired. But when you're always reading, it doesn't have to be a whole book. It could be an article on self-improvement. It could be, anything that would help improve your life. Because imagine all these books that you read, maybe it's like 600 pages or 200 pages, 100 pages. This is knowledge that this author has spent years learning, and then they just type it down for you to read in 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 days, a week, a month, So I think that once you read, you get to learn a lot of things. If you read general things or specifically something in your field, you can learn 1 or 2 things that will help improve your skill as a person, how to live life, how to manage your time, and so on and so forth, just like this book, which again, it really, really helped me. I will explain how it helped at the end. So yeah, moving on to the fourth virtue. This is to live with discipline, and this is represented by the cables. So remember I mentioned the cables that the sumo wrestler was wearing. So basically, cables are made, if you know how cables work, there's usually like one big cord, and on the inside there are a lot of wires. So the wire on its own can be weak and you can easily break it or destroy it. But when they're bound together and then put in this one big cord, it makes it very, very strong and hard to break. So the analogy there is you need to practice small habits to improve your life overall. So these small habits are those little cables, and then your life is this big, big cable. So if you say, for example, practice waking up earlier every day, so that you can get more done in your day. If you practice drinking 2 liters of water every day, if you practice exercising every day, even if it's for 5 minutes, all those tiny, tiny, tiny things put together will help improve your life overall, and you just end up feeling better as a person. You function better because of all these tiny, tiny things. Moving on to the fifth virtue is respect your time. This is represented by the stopwatch. Time is very important, guys. We have 24 hours in a day. All of us have the same 24 hours, no more, no less. But how you manage your time is what will determine how far you go in life. So for example, if you wake up earlier, that gives you a lot more use of your time than if you wake up late. Say for example, if you wake up at 8, someone else who woke up at 4 will have managed to go for a run. They'll do their prayers if they're religious. They'll have their bath, have breakfast, sign a deal because maybe they're dealing with clients who are in another country and there's time differences, so they wake up early, do all those deals. There's so many other things you can do. Whatever it is you do with your time, it's your time, but you have to learn how to value your time and therefore use it wisely. And I always say this, like, look, as much as it's important to get your rest, your 8 hours, okay, let's not take away from that, but try as hard as you possibly can to just wake up a little bit earlier in the day so that you have a chance to use your time for other things. And I'll give a perfect example. I even have another video where I talk about how to be a morning person. I was not a morning person at all. Like, I used to struggle with waking up early. But what I realized is when I wake up early, it gives me a chance to do other activities before I now start preparing for work. So that if I have to have breakfast, I can have it at home instead of eating breakfast on the way to work. I mentioned that as well. And it's a bad habit, but you can have time to have your breakfast, eat properly, do your morning workout, do your makeup if you're a woman properly instead of doing it on the way to work. If you're on a taxi or if someone's driving you and you're doing your makeup in the car, it just helps you plan your day properly. And when you're settled, when you're not panicking, when you're just relaxed because you have enough time to do a lot of things, then everything else just starts to fall into place, and then you're not rushing or panicking and just and you're more at peace that way. So that's definitely something personally that I also still am working on, because I think it's one of my biggest struggles, because I love my sleep, guys. Like, that snooze button. You set your alarm for 5 and you're just like snooze, snooze, snooze until next thing you know it's 7. So yeah, that's one of the things I need to work on. Tell me what you need to work on. You can let me know in the comment section below if there's a habit that you would like to improve, or if you'd like to change, and what you've learned in this video so far. Right, as you type those comments, I will move on to the next virtue, the sixth virtue, which is to selfishly serve others. This is represented by the roses in the garden. Yeah, it's got like bright yellow roses. So selflessly serving others, what does this mean? The monks in the Himalayas, I think, or is it the Japanese, they believe that when you give someone flowers, the scent of the flowers remains in your hands. So you get to enjoy the scent of the flowers, and you've given away some of that scent to someone else to enjoy. And basically this means that you need to practice selfless giving. The more you give, the happier you feel, the more fulfilled you feel, because when you give to someone, you spread joy, and you don't know what that does to someone. You can give them something as simple as a flower or a clothing item or some money. You don't know how far it will help that person. And the more joy you spread, the more joy comes back to you. So you need to practice giving selflessly, whether it's with your time, whether it's with knowledge. Like, I like to give knowledge selflessly. If someone asks me, oh hey, what can I do for my skin when this and this and that, I will break it down, send links, send all the information. If there's something in my closet that I don't fit anymore, and even if I'm feeling a bit like, I still want this, maybe I can adjust it, maybe I can make it bigger because it's too small. But I'd rather just give it to someone who needs it, because I'm running out of space in my closet for things I don't even use anymore. So, you don't have to go around telling everyone, oh, I'm a selfless giver and blah 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 blah. And that's another thing I like to do. I like to do things quietly. Yeah, I don't like to just be like, hey, I do this and this and this and that. But if anyone does need help, I'm always willing to help if I can. Don't overextend yourself. But what that does is it just brings joy, and you never know how it'll come back to you. But don't give with the intention of, oh, I want to give so that I receive. No, give because you want to. Don't force it. Do it genuinely and with love, and you find that things just tend to flow. It feels so amazing after that. Anyway, moving on to the final one. The seventh one is to embrace the present. This is represented by the diamonds in the story. Remember the analogy? So the diamonds, the path of diamonds out of the garden is to embrace the present. What does this mean? Again, this is something that I've also struggled with because as a person who deals with anxiety, we're constantly worrying and overthinking about things that don't exist, things that could happen, things that could have happened, things that should happen but didn't happen. So basically, and this is something that also a very good friend of mine told me about, because I would always call him. I'm like, dude, I'm having a panic attack. And he's like, breathe, focus on what's happening now. What's happening now? What do you see? What are you wearing? Oh, I'm wearing a blue floral top. What do you see in front of you? I see this. I see a table. I see flowers. That helped me practice being present. There's no point in really worrying about the past. It's happened. There's nothing you can do to change it. You can't go back in time. So just think what you can learn from the past and move on. It's happened. It's gone. There's nothing you can do. As for the future, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Even if you do plan, okay, which is very important. It's important to plan, but don't worry. Don't worry about, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work out? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But, if you have a plan B, well and good. But the problem with focusing too much on the future and worrying about the past is you miss out on the present, hence the diamonds. Diamonds are perceived to be precious stones. And so while you have it in your hands, enjoy it. Enjoy the moment that you have. If you're hanging out with your friends and family, laugh with them, be present with them. Don't, constantly post on your phone. Yeah, you can post 5-10 minutes, okay, but just stay away from your phone. Those people who you're talking to on the phone are not there with you. Focus on the people that you're in the room with. Focus on your food, even. Things as simple as your food. What are you eating now? What is in it? Oh, there's tomato, there's this and that. It tastes so good. When you practice being present, it really helps you enjoy the moment. And when you enjoy the moment, you live food, which is basically the point of this book, is to help you enjoy life, improve life, and to live fully. So yeah, it mentions all these things. These are the 7 virtues that it talks about, and it also just encourages living simply. There are a lot of unnecessary things that we have that we don't need. But as for some of us who like things, you end up maybe going shopping and buying so many unnecessary things, and then you go home and you look at what you're having and you're like, look, but I didn't need all these things, so why did I even buy them? I could have saved that money to use for something more important. I could have given it to someone else who needed it. I could have bought something for someone that they would have enjoyed, maybe a gift for someone, things like that. Yeah, so that's one thing I've learned about this book. It's really helped me improve the quality of my life. Of course, there's still habits that I have to adopt, but it's a process. It takes baby steps, and that's why you have to be disciplined. When you make the decision to improve the quality of your life, then you take the steps that you need to take and then start applying them, even if it's hard. Like, there are days when my alarm goes off for 4:50 and I'm just like, can I just have one more hour? But I've committed to making this change in my life every day, and it's helped so much. So as much as it is hard, just push yourself, push harder. Eventually it'll become easy, and then you move on to the next difficult task. And overall, as you perform these tasks, your life just starts to improve. So if you want more details, obviously you can find this book, purchase physical copies in a bookstore, or you can get it online. But I just thought I would summarize for you. Just like Julian Mantle passed on this information to others, I am passing on this information to you free of charge, and you can also pass it on to other people by sharing this video. Watch this video, share it with others who might need this information, and it'll help in just improving your life in general. Of course, I have really summarized it, but if you want more details, get the book, read it. Let me know as well what you think about these virtuals in the comment section below, and let me know if there's anything that it's helped you with, anything that you struggle with that you would like to improve. I would love to hear from you guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on my social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.
This is me, whether you like it or not. Quick to talk, but you do not do a lot. If I change, then it will be for the better. No apology, so don't expect a letter. Sit down and listen,